Welcome, Lockwood Company, episode 4. Okay, this episode is really setting us up, I think, for the remainder of the series. We're kind of digging further into the lore and the background of this world and what's going on, and some of the other pieces that we're kind of just starting to get hints about. So let's really dig into this and follow this episode through. Which starts off when Lucy wakes up. She's on her bed. We don't know exactly how she got here, what happened from the end of last episode when she collapsed in the cellar. She goes downstairs and sees a note from Lockwood and George saying that they've gone wraith hunting. They come home and they say that they ran into 13 ghosts and they had to be rescued by a rival of theirs, Kip and his group. We then find out that Lucy was found in the basement. They found her unconscious, and they brought her upstairs. She doesn't remember what happened, so she doesn't know anything about talking with the talking of the spirit that's in the container. Then we hear that they have new clients have arrived that they're going to meet with. They call them grave diggers. Still wasn't quite sure what exactly that entailed in this world. They want Lockwood and Company to go to a cemetery where they believe there's a type 2 spirit haunting an unmarked grave, possibly of somebody important. We also learn about people they're called relic men, who seems like they go and they hunt relics or sources for ghosts, and I guess they sell them for profit. This is like an underground black market type of thing, and these people are criminals and not well thought of. So we go to the cemetery. Outside the cemetery, we also see another instance of what's going on in the culture at the time, and what they call ghost cults, which are people that are out there protesting these removal of ghosts, and they want to save ghosts and learn to live with them. So that's, I guess, something that I imagine we're going to be seeing more of as the episodes go on as well. So in the cemetery, we find that there's a group of workers, psychic type workers, young people like themselves, that don't want to go into or anywhere near this grave because they say it's unsafe. Lockwood talks to them and he tells them he's going to clear it up, and they go into the grave and they're investigating. Lucy starts to feel really sick. She starts hearing things, voices and sounds in her head, and she, including a voice calling her name, in which kind of evokes some kind of flashbacks to the basement. I don't know if that's connected specifically or if it's just triggering her memory. We're still not quite sure about that. George is examining the grave, and the coffin, he says, is made of iron, which is very odd since this is like 100 years old or more, so it's well before the problem, as they refer to it, the incidents, I guess, that caused the ghosts start to come back. They realize it's not just a coffin, but there's actually like a door there, and they get it open, and they see a body inside, and Lucy becomes even more traumatized, and she's on the ground, basically, with these voices in her head and all. There's something in there with the body, some kind of relic. It looks kind of like a mirror or something. It's got some inscription on it, but we don't get to see it too clearly. Lucy recovers enough to be able to throw a sheet of, I guess, silver on the body, which neutralizes it and causes a disturbance to subside. So then all the other workers now can approach and they start to begin working. We're still not really sure exactly what they're trying to accomplish here with all this grave digging and all these workers. I'm still kind of foggy on what all is going on, actually. But the woman who's the client, or one of the women, it was a man and a woman, I guess, who were working in the cemetery with the clients, she wants George to describe this object. George is getting close to the grave, and in the process, he accidentally slips and slides onto the blanket and kicks it off, releasing the spirit. And again, everything starts to go haywire. Lucy gets her wits about her enough that she pulls out her sword and throws it, and it goes into the spirit, and it causes it to disperse. And again, at enough time that they can throw the blanket back over the body, and everything calms down again. Lucy hears the spirit calling her name, and this is like really upsetting to her. And again, she remembers what's going on in the basement. Again, we're not sure if they're connected exactly or if it's just like the memory being released. Anyway, they go back to the Lockwood residence. Lucy goes into the basement with the jar and the skull spirit thing. She talks to the spirit. It starts talking to her, and this is quite shocking. She calls it a type 3 ghost, which apparently is a ghost that can talk and is sentient, which is either very, very rare or never seen before, apparently, is what I gather at this point. It says a few things. It says the boy has secrets, and it also says that they are dangerous, and it says that it's so lonely, and something about a door. It says it can explain if Lucy lets it out. So seems like it wants her to release it from this jar. We're not sure what its intentions are, whether it's actually wants to help her or not. Seems very dubious. And when Lucy gets close to it, the spirit gets upset and agitated, and it says that she's been near power and that death is coming. Rather than letting it out, Lucy then seals the top, closing it completely again. I guess it was still partially open from when she had hit it in the last episode. You can see the spirit trying to talk, but you can't hear it anymore, or Lucy can't hear it, I guess, now that it's sealed in there. Lucy brings the jar back upstairs and tells the other two what had happened, but they don't believe her. The boy that was mentioned by the spirit is Lockwood, and it has something dangerous to do with what he has hidden in a door up in his attic. I'm not sure if that's what the spirit meant. I kind of think that's going to turn out to be some kind of misdirection, and that it was actually referring to something else, but I guess we'll get to find that out later on in future episodes. Lockwood gets upset by her talking about this and tells her never to talk about it again, or she'll be fired, basically. Lucy goes and pulls out an old VHS tape of Marissa Fitz, who is apparently the only person to describe a type 3 sentient spirit. She claimed in this video interview that she had spoken to one, and I guess she's the only one that has ever done that. We see Lockwood at the attic door, and he's clearly struggling with something, and he looks like he's going to open the door, but then he doesn't and goes away. And we also see George in his room with some books and trying to translate the inscription that was on this relic that they found. Lockwood comes to Lucy and tells her that he believes her about the ghost and that she could hear him and all that, and they make up and they go to find George, but he's not around, and it's 2 a.m. so they're concerned about where he would be. And we see on his desk there part of the translation that he's made that says the truth lies beyond. Okay, so again, we don't know what that means, but obviously that's going to come into play in the future episodes. Then we see George. He's back in the crypt in the cemetery, where it looks like a crime scene. Inspector Barnes comes in, and he says that the mirror, which was the relic, has been stolen, and that a rival team by this other boy named Kip is going to be on the case. Lockwood and Lucy then turn up also looking for George, and the Kip team comes as well, and they say that they believe that the man in the iron casket was a wealthy 19th century brewer who was killed by his workers and buried in this brewing casket. But George has a different theory, and he believes the body belongs to a member of the wealthy family that once owned the cemetery, the Birkenstaffs, and the inscription leads to a ghost cult, but this is long before the problem and the rise of these ghosts, so that's all very peculiar. Barnes decides to put both teams on the case and tells them to work together, but Kip and Lockwood secretly then make a deal that whoever solves the case, that the loser will have to quit the business. And then that's the end of this episode. So again, this is setting us up, I think, for the rest of the series. We're delving a lot more into, I think, what's going on here and one of these deeper mysteries, I think, that we're getting hints at. So I think a lot of that's going to be unraveled by this relic and the story behind this body in this casket. So that was episode 4. Pretty good, pretty exciting. Looking forward to the next episode, and we'll see where the story goes. Okay, thank you.